Welcome to the Dane and Dave show. This episode, Dave, I think is going to be a lot of fun for us. We're going to highlight the police department, and we're going to look at the canine. We're going to take a look at a ride-along. You're going to do a ride-along with one of the officers, and we'll introduce him shortly. But it's nice to see you on time for this episode.
Well, I figure it was a police department, so I better not be late.
Good thinking. But anyways, I understand you've put a challenge out there to the dogs. You think you can hide from them and you can run from them, so that's going to be exciting too.
Yeah, we'll see how that all works out. So hopefully the dogs are easy on me. We'll see.
There are a lot of good highlights that we're going to be able to highlight here with the police department, but most importantly, this is the safest city in Michigan, and the police department is certainly an important part of making this city safe. So we look forward to highlighting all of the aspects that we can in a half hour with the police department.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and the ride-along should be an experience that I haven't yet been able to do, so this should be fun.
I think this is a dream come true for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You always wanted to be a cop, didn't you?
I always wanted to be a cop, yeah.
So right now we're going to ask Officer Milt Stansberry to come in here. You're going to do a ride-along with Milt. Come on in, Milt.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Milt, you know, it's going to be a challenge to have Dave in the car with you today, so, you know, don't get him hurt, but show him something. Maybe you get a bank robbery today.
Okay. Well, I heard it's not his first time being a ride-along, just the first time in the front seat. I don't know if that's true.
That is not a true story.
Okay. All right.
That's not, so he says anyways. But anyways, Milt, you've been on the department how long?
24 years.
24 years. And you have a son that's a police officer, right?
I have a son that's been a police officer for, I can't remember if it's 7 or 8 years, but he's with Shelby Township.
But your particular assignment now is your motor carrier officer, so what does that entail?
Motor carrier along with a traffic safety specialist, and that involves just concentrating on our bigger commercial vehicles, and because there's a lot involved with those.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a problem in our city and other cities where some of the weight on some of these trucks are really causing a lot of damage to the roads. So I think it's an important part of enforcement, especially on our roads.
Yeah, from an infrastructure standpoint, I think it's very important because when you take a car that, say, weighs 4,000 pounds versus a truck in Michigan can weigh up to 164,000 pounds, I think you can see that there's a lot more potential for damage to the roads.
Yeah. Dave, do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, Milt presented at one of our council meetings here a little while ago, and there was an overweight truck that he had pulled over, and it turns out it had bad brakes and a host of other violations that were real safety issues. So it's an important function in our police department for sure.
So let's get out there and have some fun, do a ride along. Try not to get them in too much trouble out there, but show them something anyways, okay? We'll see you out on the road. We were lucky enough while we were filming this episode to be at the police department when we're having one of our retirement celebrations, and Officer Jeff Denny, after 34 years, is retiring from the Detroit Police Department, and this is something that the police department has done for quite a while to honor those that have retired, with a coffee, a celebration, and a presentation of some awards and their retirement badge, which is very important to them when they retire. Okay, I'm in the communications center of the police department, and I'm going to talk to one of the communications supervisors, Curtis Reynolds. Kurt, could you tell us a little bit about the big screen and what some of the capabilities are here with addresses and some some things that are important to getting officers quickly to a location.
Yes, sir. The big map shows us the entire city, both Troy and Clawson, that we dispatch for. Gives us the ability to see where the officers are in the city. Uses automatic vehicle locator to show where they are. We can zoom in on the map and go down to specific addresses, and it actually will show us a overhead picture of the city, so we can actually see the individual houses and fire hydrants and things like that. Gives us the ability to tell responders where the house is, what it generally looks like, and where the fire hydrant is for the fire department if it's the middle of the winter.
Good. And the screen that has the cameras, that is the cameras for the police department, City Hall, and the transit center?
Yes, sir. But we have cameras at City Hall, through the police department, and also at the train station, the transit center, where we can see what's going on there. When people go to the station, there's a emergency call button they can push, and the camera focuses right on them, so we can see what's going on. We can watch when the train's coming in. Pretty much all the city buildings have cameras on them that we can watch for different security reasons here.
And the officers have computers in their cars with screens that are somewhat similar to the screen that you see in front of you on the left anyways, and so you can communicate with them without really even talking to them anymore.
Yes, sir. If necessary, we can send the runs directly to the officer. It'll pop up on their screen. They'll know exactly where they need to go and what they need to do.
We're inside the police department at the workout facility, and as you can see, this is where the free weights are, and up above on the second level is the cardio area that the officers can use. It's used quite extensively by the officers to stay in shape and keep their cardio up. And Dave has volunteered to demonstrate one of the free weight machines that we have here.
Yeah, this weight training thing is a piece of cake. I'm going to give this a shot here real quick. So easy. Oh, pain is so good. Oh.
One more.
No pain, no gain.
Good job. Good job. Okay, we're joined now with Troy's K-9 unit, and as you can see, one of the vehicles that is used for the K-9 unit is an SUV, but there are also regular vehicles, and I'm here with 3 of the K-9 officers, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, and then we're going to ask them some questions. We're going to have some demonstrations. Dave is going to participate in a couple of fun features that we have planned. And first of all, Adam, introduce yourself.
I'm Officer Adam Snecko. I'm a K-9 officer with Troy Police Department.
Officer Mindy Weingart. I'm also a K-9 officer with the Troy Police Department.
And Officer Steve Brazel, Troy Police K-9.
And I don't know if fun is really how you explain getting bit by a dog, but...
Well, it's fun for me. One of the real assets of the police department is the K-9 unit, and I know some of the history, but Adam, the K-9 unit is funded through the forfeiture fund. The money doesn't come directly from the general fund or the police department budget, and also it's kind of self-supporting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The dogs definitely pay for themselves through seized vehicles or forfeitures, used drugs transactions and stuff like that we confiscate during arrest. So
They also do suspect apprehension.
Yeah, I think that's one of the fun things that that we do with the dogs, and maybe we'll see a little bit of that later on with Dave. But the dogs are also very popular, especially with the kids. I know you go to schools, and didn't you spend some time today doing a school sweep
Yes.
in another city? And we work in conjunction with many cities. Is that right?
yes, we do. If other cities need a K-9, if they don't have one working or their department doesn't have one, they'll call on us, and we're always there to lend a hand and help other departments out. We do a lot of K-9 demonstrations for open houses and school groups and stuff like that. So they're a good public relations asset as well.
Right. Why don't we take a look at some of the harnesses that are used on the dogs and some of the other things that you use to make sure that the dogs are kept within arm's reach, so to speak, so that they don't get away and you can have some control over them. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that you use to keep these dogs healthy. And sure. I know each one of you takes the dog home yourself. You take care of that dog, right?
Yes, he does. He lives with me.
He lives with you?
Yes.
Is there a particular breed of dog that makes a better canine dog in a canine unit like this, or do you get to pick which type of dog you want?
The city of Troy uses German Shepherds.
Mm-hmm.
Some departments use Malinois. Some departments use Dutch Shepherds.
Okay. And the dogs obviously have names. What are the names that we're working with today?
My dog's name is Eli.
Eli?
Yes.
My dog's name is Tico.
Tico?
And my dog's name is Kilo. Okay, here we have some of the canine equipment that we use during training and in the course of our duties with the dog here. This big sleeve that you see, this is what we use to train the dogs in aggression. That way it keeps us safe and we don't get bit. The dogs bite the sleeve instead of us. This is another form of the aggression sleeve that we use here. Over on the left over there you see the harness that says police on it. We use that for tracking purposes. It's a tracking harness. It goes on the dog when we're looking for, again, lost subjects or somebody who fled from the scene of a crime. This is one of their reward toys. Everything these dogs do is reward driven. So they get, Kongs and tennis balls. There's a rope on this so we don't get bit. This is another reward toy, so those are what they're working for. Some of the other collars that we use, everything the dogs do, we put a different collar on them. This here we'd put on when they're going to be doing their narcotic searching. There's a collar up there on the left that's for the dogs to use during aggression. It's a flat collar. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger, so they don't feel the correction from the choke collar. And of course we carry first aid kit for when the dogs get hurt, because their jobs are dangerous and there is times where we need to attend to injuries on the dogs. So we keep first aid kits specifically for the dogs.
My dog was 13 months when he came over. In Europe, they train them in aggression, but they do not train them to find drugs or bombs. Our dogs can only do one or the other. Therefore, in Europe, they're trained in aggression, and when they come here, they go with a master trainer who gets them acclimated to drugs or bombs. There it is.
Well, this is quite a pickle I've got myself into. The dog seems to want a piece of me. I don't know what he thinks I have on me, but all right, I'm out of here. I'll try to get away from this dog. All right. I don't think so. Holy cow. So here we are at the gun range at the Troy Police Department. We've been given special permission to come down here and learn a little gun safety, see what the gun range is all about, and talk to Milt specifically about gun safety. And he's an expert. He's on the team that wins all the awards for marksmanship. So let's talk to Milt.
We're going to talk a little bit about gun safety. And anytime you purchase a firearm from a federally licensed dealer, they will issue you a gun lock, whether it came with a gun originally or not. All new guns do come with one, and you will sign a piece of paper to that effect that you have a gun lock. And there's different ones, but this is the most common. You see, it looks like a bicycle lock, and you can run it through the frame, out the slide here, so it cannot function, or through the barrel, your choice. But it effectively renders the firearm inoperable if you do that. Run it through the magazine port, through here, or through the barrel, and this will get that accomplished. Run it through the magazine well, and through here, and then lock it, and the gun cannot function that way. It's impossible. And or you could insert it through the barrel, Actually, probably easier going from the chamber area and out the barrel. When possible, this gun to function. But also, addition, what I like about this bicycle type lock, as we call it, you can then secure it in your home to something that's secure in, say, in your closet if you don't have a gun safe, or for those people that are licensed to carry guns that want to leave their gun in a car, they can lock them inside their trunk to a piece of the hardware that's in the trunk. So now they don't have to worry so much about their gun being stolen and getting in the wrong hands. This type of gun lock affords that extra feature that a trigger lock wouldn't, and I particularly like these.
Okay, we're inside the range at this point, and when you get this far, you got to wear glasses and you got to wear ear protection. So Dave and I are going to take a couple shots at a couple of targets just to show that we have the capability of hitting a target, and we're going to practice a little bit here. And this is all about safety. So we're going to load the magazines right here. Once the gun is loaded, we'll stay right here. So let's give it a shot, Dave. Okay, Dave, we're going to take a look at how we did and pull the targets in and see if we hit the target. We had 6 shots total. Okay?
Sounds good.
We did pretty good.
Not too bad.
6 shots.
Pretty good grouping.
Pretty good grouping. So you're a pretty good shot.
You know, hours at the range.
Yeah. I have a little bit of experience here, but it's good to see that you can shoot too.
Yeah.
I'm being traffic, specialist, and obviously we're subject to call to go to anything. Mm-hmm. But and then if you're close to something that that's a priority 1 run, like there's somebody not breathing or something like that. I mean, there's any officer's going to get to that. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I'm the look and find stuff. You know what I mean? As far as kind of that problem solving, as far as the truck thing. As far as I go out and look for those, we'll sit down and we'll look at stats showing where we have the most accidents in this city. Well, why is that? And we have a kind of a motto, if you want to call it that. It's called education, engineering, and enforcement. As far as we'll look at it, what's the problem in this intersection? For instance, Crooks and Big Beaver, most of the time has approximately 90 crashes within 150 feet of that intersection every year. Why is that? Is it because could signing it be better, or is it an engineering issue where something needs to be changed? Is it a light timing issue, or is it just plain people are running the red light and just because there's lack of enforcement?
So we're on the road with Milt Stansberry, and we're gonna start his shift and see what kind of things present themselves to us today. So how long is a typical shift, Milt?
10 hours is a typical shift for a patrol officer. I mean, obviously some of our specialized units are guys that are, undercover types. I mean, there is no typical shift. It's if they get a target, good leads on some bad guys, and they're going to stay on it for however long it takes. You know what I mean? So, the normal shift is typically 10 hours. The average guy works. On a day shift, we work 7 to 5. Mm-hmm. But 71. If we have enough manpower, I will sometimes adjust my schedule to accommodate special enforcement needs, like school bus enforcement zones. Because starting at 5, after you get out of roll call, sometimes you missed a lot of the early school buses, and we get complaints quite often from school bus drivers and citizens that people are not stopping for such and such school bus at a such and such location, and so I'll start early and hit those areas and give it a little attention. And remember that equation I told you before, the little education, engineering, and enforcement.
Right.
That's usually never the education part and the engineering. It just needs enforcement. 'Cause you got a vehicle that's 40 feet long. It's the biggest traffic light you ever seen, and people not stopping for it. That's
Right.
And I know our judges and magistrates. That's a zero tolerance for them when it comes to passing a school bus that's got its red lights on.
Right.
Every judges that I have experience with is on board with zero tolerance, because school buses equal what? Kids.
Right.
So
Yeah. Let's say it's a 10-hour shift. Then do you, most companies have breaks. Do you have regular lunches, regular breaks? Kind of take them as you will, or are you in the car most of the time?
Yes, I'm in the car most of the time. There's no typical breaks, and as far as and something that's taught in Police Academy 101 for a patrol officer, you should always try to vary your patrol areas of route you might patrol, how you do it, or what time of day, when you would take your breaks, where you might take a lunch, is so criminals will tune into that and say, well, that officer goes to such and such place same time every day. Well,
Right.
we'll be over in this area
Right.
doing stuff, that we shouldn't be doing. So that's basic Police 101, is that you shouldn't, you should guard against that. Sometimes it's easy to fall into it, like I like my coffee and first thing in the morning, like most folks do, but either make it there at the station before I leave. By the time I get to the station, she's my third cup.
Right.
So, but where you go to get it, or what time you get it, or like I said, leave with one RE in hand, or go get it, but get it someplace different instead of the same place each day, each time.
Right. So you just drive back and forth. Nothing happens. Boring day, right?
I can't remember last time that's happened. That's what you'd like.
Right.
It's some patrol time to go
Perfect
find
world.
stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, it's better to be. If your day is full, then you don't have time to go look for stuff or patrol for stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Patrol the areas, because the average person wants to see the officer. Well, I never see an officer on my street. Well, you want to see an officer on your street. Well, that's called patrol time. That means he's not busy, handling stuff as far as going to calls.
You can do the day-to-day things that people want to see, the visibility stuff that
Exactly.
people want to see. Yeah.
Which, not as it's not just a feel-good thing, but obviously it's a deterrent thing. Is that if you got cars that are able to mobilize and drive around, it is a deterrent, and that's hard to quantify, isn't it? As far as how effective is that? Well, we know it's somewhat effective. Depends on what kind of crime you're trying to prevent, as far as visibility.
Right.
I mean, how effective is that against being seen driving around a patrol car against homicide? Probably not too, but somebody that likes to break into cars or businesses, it might be a deterrent.
Big deterrent.
I think it is.
On a staffing basis, are there how many officers in a typical, say your 10-hour shift? Is there one of you, 5 of you, 50 of you that are on the street at the same time? Do we need more? Do we need less? What's your impression there?
Well, it's an interesting question there, but I'll just tell you what I think. So,
Right.
As compared to when I started here in January of '91, and I don't recall exactly the staffing levels there, but it was quite a bit more than what it is now. And there was more freedom to, as you say, go out and find stuff. Because think about it, most officers that are, most people that want to become an officer, is that they want to go find something. They want to go, catch somebody, that's up to no good. They want to go catch the bad guy. Otherwise, why would you want to be a police officer? You not want to self-motivated and go out and find something. So, in a typical road patrol day, starting at 7 o'clock, we used to have a traffic unit, and we still have guys specially trained. It's called traffic specialists, but they count as part of the road patrol minimum manpower standards, where they didn't used to be. And what that means is that if someone decides to use a vacation day or a holiday, they didn't used to count in that minimum staffing standards. I mean, so that way they could start their shift, like I mentioned earlier, at whatever time the need might arise, where I could start at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. because we got a complaint of people running a particular school bus at a certain time. And obviously you don't start at that exact time. You got to give it some lead time, where the officer comes in and preps his vehicle and preps himself as far as for the next shift, as far as reads the shift report as far as what to look for, because you need to know what's going on in the city and what to look for, and not just for officer safety reasons, but so you're on this same sheet of music of what the other shift's been up to. And for instance, like keep an eye on such and such area because they've been getting a certain amount of crime, whether it be larceny from autos, or be aware that we've been to a certain house. The previous shift went to a certain house where guns were removed from the house. It was a domestic, and but we think we might be back there. I mean, just and so you need to have time to brief yourself on that, and to equip your vehicle. And so you got to start at least probably an hour out from that time. So it gives you the flexibility to do that if you're not counting in the minimum shift manpower.
While we're here at Tim Hortons, we're going to stop in, grab a coffee, and of course, a donut. So, how do you, what are your favorite kinds? That's the question of the day. What's your favorite donut?
Favorite donut is the one that Dave buys.
The one that Dave buys. The free.
The free one, right?
All right.
Yeah, as we say, if it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 3.
Dane with a box full of Timbits.
Well, isn't it fitting that I should run into you guys here? And I have a gift here for you guys, a little box of Timbits. I know the officers are waiting for these.
Here's something that's not very well known, I don't think. Well, they do when they see it's a police car, is that if there's one lane of traffic leading in, that is one lane of traffic there. The reason it's wide right here, now see, some people will come up and pull the other side of that car and they can't see, and they were the first ones there. Right. It's not a courtesy thing. This is wide so a bus or a truck can negotiate this turn and not drive over the curb.
So this is not 2 lanes, or is it 2 lanes?
This is not, because it's 1 lane leading in. Now, further down the road there, you'll see where there's 2 lanes. This is even wider yet, and there's lane markings designating that. But as you can see, say if you were the person, and by law, this person's supposed to turn in the most immediate lane. But see, for instance, this person here, is that as we move up, then it gets us out of order, and I can't see traffic coming.
Right. So these turnarounds are specifically for, should be a 1 lane
This should be
situation.
a 1 lane, and like I said, it's meant for a large wheelbase vehicle to negotiate the turn. See, they're doing the right thing. They're
trying to
finding a good, safe
place.
spot to pull over that we talked about.
So, a traffic violation. Milt is making the stop.
But my computer's already shut down.
So the procedure then is to come back, run the license, just kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, it's an out-of-state license, and she said she didn't see the sign, but yet she said, I saw that the cars were way back there, though. So maybe she did, maybe she didn't.
Right.
Radio 341, OE1015, starting mileage 22497. And 1206.
Nice job. Another satisfied customer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, that was one of our better episodes. I think it's always fun to see what it's really like to be inside a police car, and some of the things. The K9 was fun. I hope you had fun, but this was a great episode for me. Brought back a lot of memories. How was it for you?
It was a lot of fun. I appreciate the police department allowing us to tag along, and for me, not having that experience, it was an eye opener just to see some of the complexity that these guys deal with on a day-to-day basis. So,
we got a couple of Timbits left.
Your choice.
I think I'll take this one. And
cheers.
Cheers.